will go to the World Cup. The fourth team are in a playoff with Argentina. An Argentina team who, by the way, were beaten 4-0 by Chile here in the Copa America. There's Jill Ellis, who's already won the World Cup once. Can she do it again?
You can see her shaking her head because it's Mircall Zerboni who's down on the field.
And badly injured by the look of it, the way she's just lying there. That's very, very early in the proceedings.
Hard to tell from that, but
something went, didn't it?
Yeah.
Something went for a young lady who was the oldest debutant ever for the US women's national team. At the age of 30, she's been a star around the league for a long time before getting her chance, and this is not good to see for Mircall Zerboni. Plays for North Carolina Courage. It's only her 7th cap as well tonight. Not exactly sure what has happened here. No clues there, really.
Still can't tell. It looks like she caught her left arm. You see her grab her left arm, maybe that wrist. That's what they're checking right now when she went to ground.
Yeah.
It looks like it either hyperextended or bent back.
And her elbow, by the look of it as well. You can see the medical team there just feeling there to see if there's any long-lasting damage. A worried-looking Jill Ellis very early in the proceedings as well.
Morgan Bryan is warming up on the sideline. But gosh, and for North Carolina Courage, you know, she's such a cog in the midfield.
Yeah, they're the team top of the National Women's Soccer League. They've been dominating it as well, and she plays a very big part in the midfield. She's feeling it looks like shoulder as well. Very, very unfortunate that it didn't look anything, but of course we're not the people feeling the pain. She's being assessed. At the moment, the US are playing with 10 women out there as it's played towards Alex Morgan. One thing Chile will want to do is defend better when the ball is in the air, because they were beaten time and time again from corners the other night, and it's a major problem. I imagine they've been working pretty hard on that in training in the last 2 or 3 days.
Set pieces defensively were not their strongest point, that's for sure. And you can see the U.S. tactic early on here is they're going to press. And they're going to win it. Hopefully they want to win it, that attacking third.
Is Lopez playing inside to Araya. They like to pass the ball around. They're quite good technically, Chile. And a miscontrol by Ayedo has given the U.S. possession. It was a pretty good move up till then. That's Kelly O'Hara. It's good to see her back. She's had a long time out of the US team, 6 months in fact, with a complicated hamstring injury. Goalless early on here. Welcome viewers to ESPN2. Joining us here, you haven't missed too much at the start of the game, bar a nasty looking injury to Mircall Zerboni, which is being assessed at the moment as the US playing in all blue tonight, attacking the goal to your right as you look at it here on a balmy night in San Jose, California. Right by the airport, in fact, we can see the jets landing as we're commentating. They're going to make a change there, and Mircall Zerboni has to come off, and Morgan Bryan coming on. This is the injury. It didn't look much, but just an unhappy landing.
Yeah, you can see when her left arm hits the ground. And that's what she was grabbing, whether it's her elbow or her shoulder. Let's hope she's okay. And you saw the look of concern on Jill Ellis's face. This is a coach that's just finally getting players back to health and to form.
We need to get you back to health as well with that, with that throat. Big fight today for Julie to be here in the booth tonight.
I've drinking more lemon tea and honey today than I think in my entire life. And this is all that I'm at.
It's better than in the coffee shop at lunchtime, I can tell you that.
True.
That's Leighton making a mistake. Chile wearing a change outfit tonight of all white. And poor old Mircall Zerboni, big chance for her here starting the game as well. Chance to make a statement. And it ends in, well, a matter of moments. It's Tiana Davidson who got her first goal for the US the other night, the 19-year-old Stanford student who's got all her college teammates watching her here.
I know, I heard the Cardinals in the house. Got to find them in the stands.
Formerly of Stanford yourself, of course, in case anybody didn't know
Just
by now.
Just in case. I'll remind you.
Got some big games coming up. They'll probably need her at the weekend. 2 massive games coming up for Stanford.
Notre Dame and UNC this weekend. That is a big weekend.
Yeah. There's Toby in the Heath. A lot of people think she is the most skillful player in the whole of the US setup. A dazzling winger with a real box of tricks. Will be very important at the World Cup. This is Davidson who likes to pick a pass. This time it's cut out though by the midfield player Aedo. Controversial game the other night. The US scored 3 goals, but they had a couple disallowed. Another one, Carly Lloyd shot, which looked to bounce down across the line. It wasn't the referee's happiest evening. We've got the experienced Christina Unkel in charge tonight, who's a litigation attorney when she's not refereeing. Here's Casey Short joining the attack, and she's under the microscope a bit about whether she can add things going forward, and that wasn't the greatest start.
No, and that's one of the things you get from Casey Short in terms of you get a great defensive outside back, and I think one of the things that Jill Ellis is going to be looking for is, what can she provide in that final third on the attacking front.
I should tell you that Megan Rapinoe is injured at the moment, but will be joining us at half-time and for a bit of the second half as well. She's doing a great job raising money for victims of the fires which have been raging north of here in California. You'll have heard all about that. Here's Alex Morgan with the ball in, and a wonderful chance. Not taken. Mallory Pugh attacking it. She was odds on to score, really.
She did well to get to that near post as well. Look at Pugh. She's just fighting to get to that near post. She gets inside the defender as well. Her positioning was perfect. And that's a great ball in by Alex Morgan, driven with pace. Defender can't get to it.
Look at that, 17 goals in the last 19 games. None in 8 before that run. It's the way it goes for strikers. Just hope that you're on one of those flood periods when a big tournament comes round. Just wanting a bit too much time on the ball. Chile has a massive learning experience for them. They've qualified for the World Cup for the very first time, and they're just dipping their toe in the rather hot water against an elite team. See how they get on these 2 games. They'll want to do better tonight than they did last Friday, that's for certain. Got a bit of a chasing, in all honesty.
Yeah, and that's why I think you're going to see that condensed midfield from Chile tonight, because there was so much space for Rose Lavelle to create for Lindsay Horan before.
Jose Letelier, the former Colo player, who is the coach of this team, has already done a fantastic job. Here's Rose Lavelle, who can certainly pick a pass, not quite picking up Mallory Pugh there. Continental Tire Analyst Corner features the number of players in training camp for the US
since
in recent times.
2017.
Yeah,
and that gives you an indication, that this is what Jill Ellis talked about last year. It was experimental phase. They wanted to look at players, and she did just that. But now they're into the phase of course, with the qualifiers a month away, of hammering down this lineup.
Yep. Aido to lay it inside, then Araya. So a neater piece of play by Aido, who just struggled to pick up the pace of the game. She's an important player, wears the number 10 shirt, which is always a little bit iconic in South American circles, if not more globally as well. Davidson very comfortable on the ball. She used to be a midfield player, playing it forward to Morgan Bryan, another player who's had to come through a long-term injury in recent times. Quite interesting. Araya looks to be playing almost as a false number 9 at times, and they're using Santibáñez, the tall striker, out wide on the right. Slight change of formation. They had to tweak things a little bit, that's for certain. Here is Araya.
Good early look too at what Rose Lavelle brings. Just earlier, she's in the seam between Chile's midfield and defense, picking up a ball. There, she's getting one a little higher and wider.
Is O'Hara, over 100 caps for her. Lavelle doesn't quite win that one. It's well played by Francisca Lara. Seeing a bit more of the ball already, Chile, than we saw the other night. Just couldn't get out the other night. They kept giving it away, or they were very well pressed out of possession by this US side, who are favourites to retain their crown next summer in France. So the hosts will be dangerous. Australia too, and a few others. Maybe even some we don't know about yet. Just a look at the Chile lineup tonight, with Rocio Soto coming into the side and Claudia Soto as well. Those two are not sisters.
And when you look at that entire roster for Chile, you've got 13 that are playing either in Europe, and you got one in Brazil, one in Japan.
Is Heath with the cross, and it's Rocio Soto who cuts it out for a corner kick. And this is a big test here for Chile, because the US had 17 corners, 17 on Friday night, and they looked a threat with every single one of them. It's just a check there on how it was on Friday. That was then, this is now. Let's see whether Chile defend better. They're going to need to do it at the World Cup. The US, Kelly O'Hara with a header down. Only ever scored 2 goals in 107 caps, Kelly O'Hara. And there she is, heading that ball on again. I think she's only going to play a half, isn't she, tonight, Julie, because she's not ready for 90 minutes.
She's not fully fit for 90. I just think they're excited that they get those players back. Rose Lavelle, Kelly O'Hara, Tobin Heath on the other side, Morgan Bryan, as you mentioned.
The phrase that Jill Ellis used for us yesterday was, "It's uber competitive." Hard to get into this team, and it's all good news for the coach, really. She's got an embarrassment of riches, really. The one player you'd worry about a little bit, picked up an injury, would be Alex Morgan. If she was injured, where's the cover there? Here's Lavelle, one of the exciting youngsters who's come through. Tobin Heath, always got the good close control. The finish not quite so impressive.
Tobin Heath might have heard you saying, raising her hand, I'm the one that would cover for Alex.
Would she?
I think she'd be the first one you'd look to, or, you know, ironically, the player that is out tonight, Megan Rapinoe, with the rib injury.
Oh, Claudia Soto was played straight into trouble there, and Pugh's got a chance as a result of that. And that was almost a little bit of suicide.
And this is where the U.S. thinks they can be dangerous. They recognize Chile likes to play these little short balls. We're going to press them. And we're going to pick up these balls and then try and punish them for that. Chile cannot afford to give up those mistakes, because the U.S. will punish them for that.
All credit to Chile for trying it, but it's a dangerous game. You're seeing it, it's all over the world now, the high press, people trying to, goalkeepers having to play out from the back. Lavelle picking that ball towards Casey Short. It's got a bit too much juice on it, and there's an offside flag up anyway. Big game coming up for you on ESPN. That's next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, as the US renew their storied rivalry with Mexico at the Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Big game. Both teams, of course, rebuilding. US with a fantastic autumn schedule of games coming up. They include games against Italy and England at Wembley on November the 15th, which you'll catch with us on ESPN. They're playing Brazil as well at the end of this week.
Brazil as well, right?
Yeah.
The 7th.
Talk about being thrown at the deep end. And Stahlkemper getting it back, one of the players who's into the side tonight. She wasn't used last Friday.
That's when you realize you can swim, Ian. It's good to get thrown into the deep end. Remember against France before the World Cup?
Well,
those young boys, look at them. They did great.
And most of those will be on duty again. The squad's been announced for that match, yeah, and the result looks pretty handy now. Friendly it might have been. 1-1 draw with the eventual world champions. That's Lara and Pugh, and Lara going down, and a free kick. Goal-scoring midfield player, Francisca Lara. Scored in 3 of the last 4 games, plays for Sevilla in Spain, and 9 of the 11 starters tonight for Chile do play in Spanish League women's football.
It's an awfully high line by the United States.
Very high.
Ashlyn Harris has a ton of space in behind her to cover.
Is it too much? As Claudia Soto curls that in, it isn't the greatest ball. Didn't really exploit that space that was there for her forwards to maybe run on into. Guerrero to help it back to Yesenia Lopez. Not a good ball. Couldn't really afford to squander possession, but it's been won back high by Chile. So far, I'd have to say this is an improved display by them. Saez. Carla Guerrero. It's a long ball in behind there, and the US just caught out for a moment, but the flag is up. But promising that with Leighton making the surprising move from the left back position.
She's been hovering on that front line. Look at her. She was already up there. That was close. She is leaning a little bit off.
Looking at times like a 3-5-2, this by Chile. Certainly pushing on the fullbacks. Guerrero crashing into the advertising hoardings over there. Alex Morgan with a who me look towards the referee.
We showed that stat of how many players Jill Ellis has cycled through in the last 2 years, but think about all the formations as well she's looked at. She went from a 3-back to a 4-back to 4 in the midfield to 2 up front.
Yeah.
I think this is the formation that suits them the best here, 4-3-3. And a large part of that is the work you see from those front 3. Alex Morgan, Tobin Heath, and Mallory Pugh today, but look at them on both sides of the ball. They put in some shifts.
The US who've beaten Mexico, they play in the qualifier twice already this year. Never lost to Trinidad and Tobago, never lost to Panama. It would be sensation amount 10 on the Richter scale if the US didn't make it to the World Cup. Morgan Bryan played it blind, there was nobody there, just the grass, easily picked up by Araya. And she finds Yanara Aedo, who plays for Valencia in Spain. Had a spell at Washington Spirit.
Yeah, she played on the reserve team and then actually brought up to their senior team, but didn't get any time.
Scored 3 goals in the Copa America. Chile surprising a few people, making the final, beating Argentina 4-0. Their only defeat was against Brazil, and they weren't humiliated there either. It was only 3-1.
And the thing that you love to hear about it is Chile was the host of that. And talking to the team yesterday, they said that the country just went crazy for it.
Yeah. They had a big TV rating the other night, by the way, on Friday, when they played the US. And I think it was 2 o'clock in the morning, local time, by the time it finished. It was a late game, even for us. Lavelle plays it wide. Here's Mallory Pugh. That's a disappointing cross, really. straight to the well-regarded goalkeeper, Cristiane Endla, the captain of Chile and Paris Saint-Germain she plays for. That was the final round results. They played a few games before that in the competition.
Argentina now goes to the playoff of the 4th place team from CONCACAF they'll play. But the thing that always strikes me is when they were saying, and you love to hear it, with such pride that people were camping out for tickets, and Chile went, of course, with their men's team not qualifying for the World Cup, went crazy for it. But then I'm always surprised that people are surprised, because this is always the case with women's soccer, right? When are we going to stop being surprised by that?
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
Their world ranking's 39 at the moment. Well, they've made the top 32 already. Scotland qualified today as well, didn't they?
They did.
But, I've not been doing too much in the men's game, so that will be a cause of celebration north of the border, back home where I come from.
And there's a player on Scotland that the world should see, Kim Little. That's going to be fun for them to get a glimpse of her.
World Cup in France next summer. Morgan, dispossessed, picked up by Lopez, who's quite neat on the ball, left foot, relaxed to pick a pass, but not quite accurate enough for Santi Banez on that occasion. It's Tiana Davidson. The US not having things quite so much their own way tonight, but that probably will be good, because what do you learn really beating up on teams all the time? Good move here though, Pugh breaking in, and very good piece of defending, but then given away by Saez after the great cut-out. Lavelle goes down in the penalty area, no problem with that. Inside by Leighton. Looks like Chile have had a good think, and the coach has just redesigned the formation, and you can see the difference, can't you?
Yeah, there's not as much space in midfield. That was a Rose Lavelle getting in the seam there, but you haven't seen that as much as you did in the first half of Friday night for sure.
Morgan Bryan on the ball. Morgan to Casey Short, coming around at left back. It seems at the moment as if Crystal Dunn is in pole position to fill that role at the World Cup itself. Again, Morgan trying to get the cross away.
And here's that look with Rose. There's that seam she finds so well, and what she does is she runs at that back line, so she pulls a defender to her, which opens up Mallory Pugh a little bit. But attacking midfielders that run at that back line, because then it's got to shift the defense a bit. So important to see that.
Decent support over the head of O'Hara. Nearly dropped to Tiana Davidson. Dahl Kemper overhit on that occasion, quite badly overhit as it turned out for the US, who would have thought, I think, given their domination of the game the other night, that they would have won by more than 3 goals to, I think, but for 1 or 2 controversial refereeing decisions, they would have done.
3 goals disallowed. 2, I guess. 1 that probably.
Which raises the question, we still don't know whether there's going to be the video assistant referee at the Women's World Cup. There surely must be. It was largely voted a hit at the Men's World Cup last year, but the point they're making is that there's not enough officials around who are experienced enough at operating it.
And are you buying that, Ian?
Not really, because they could use the guy. They could use the guys who operated it last.
You have roomfuls that we've been watching on TV for the last month. Use those guys. That's the argument that FIFA says, oh, it takes 2 years to train them. Come on.
Sayers might get booked for that, because she cynically just pulled her opponent down there, having realised she lost possession. I think Christina Unkel, the referee, well, she's let that go. I think she's only let that go because it's a friendly. That's a booking all day, every day in a competitive tournament, or should be. The referee's married to another referee, the respected MLS referee, Ted Onkel. Do you think they discussed the offside law over breakfast?
Over tea.
Probably not. Probably not. Or maybe VAR, yeah. Here's Lavelle. Juliet's here. Lavelle again. The last ball hasn't been of the quality that Jill Ellis, the coach, would have liked so far. She was talking to you and I yesterday about that. That's an area we need to improve. And that last ball is the decisive one, isn't it, every time?
Yeah. And it's been the area that's the last final piece of the puzzle for him. And tonight, especially, it hasn't been there. It's a little bit too much pace on every ball. And I was trying to figure out if this field is shorter, a little faster than normal, because it just seems everything's a little too fast.
I think I detected a little shake of the head there from Jill Ellis, because the US's passing's been a bit on the sloppy side so far. No breakthrough yet, and 26 minutes gone. There will be chances for others later with the usual bunch of substitutions you always get in these matches. There's Casey Short legging inside to Morgan Bryan, wanting to restate her case. Again, the pass not quite right for Tobin Heath. Casey Short to take the throw. She's had cruciate injuries to both knees in her career, so it's great she's come through all that. She is very, very quick. Great recovery speed in her defensive work. Takes a bit of character, that.
Yeah, such a wonderful story too. For people out there, we know how many have suffered knee injuries. To have two, she says, you know, I just wanted to put the crest and wear the crest. I just kept fighting. Yeah.
Well, we were discussing that the other night, how because of the physiological differences, there are more cruciate injuries in the women's game.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't know about that till about 2 weeks ago.
It's very prevalent, sadly.
Here's Pugh. As for Washington Spirit, talented individual with 11 goals for the USA as a teenager. Not many have done that. Kelly O'Hara into Rose Lavelle. Lavelle's job tonight is to play the role as the number 10, getting between the midfield players and the defence, finding little spaces and then picking passes to pick the locks, as it were, of the Chilean defence. She hasn't really been able to do it yet.
Hard foul. Chile's definitely got a little more bite in them defensively tonight.
Whether they can maintain that intensity, of course, over 90 minutes. I'll be honest, I thought they'd still have all the chasing they did the other night in their legs for this game.
Tell you what, too, this is a team that's having fun over here in the United States. They were at the beach in LA. They had their boombox going at practice yesterday. They're laughing. I loved it.
Yeah. I think Crystal Dunn is going to come on to replace Kelly O'Hara pretty soon. So I think they're taking it very easy, I think, with Kelly O'Hara. She's been out a long time. So bit by bit, they will build her back up again. I think the phrase she used was incremental loading. There's a new one on me, but I know what she meant.
I said that means you just need to be smarter. She said yes. She said this whole thing happened because I kept feeling it, thinking, it'll get better. And then she said, then one day my hamstring was like, no. And it tore, sadly. So it's been a long road of recovery for her. It's great to see her back out there.
Yeah. It takes longer than a sore throat. Leighton to lay it wide. Now, Ayedo. And Saez, who I thought played a good game the other night, really, with the team under a lot of pressure. She looked the most composed of the defenders. But they don't have a lot of height, do they, in the team to defend set pieces, which will be a concern for the coach. Crystal Dunn is about to come on, so I think maybe Casey Short will go to the right, and Crystal Dunn will go to a, well, new position of left back. She's such a versatile former striker, wide player.
You are correct. Dunn on the left, Casey Short moving out to the right.
Yeah, I'm not telepathic or anything like that. We were told that was going to happen when we watched it.
You should have taken full credit for that, actually.
Yeah, you should have done, shouldn't I?
Don't peel back the curtain, Ian.
So far, so good on the road to recovery. We wish her well, Kelly. Guerrero towards Araya. Another problem Chile have really is they don't really have any speed to get behind that US defense. They haven't got a flyer. This is Latelia devising something new. He knew he had to for this game. He'll be very, very pleased, I think, with the way they've played so far. Crystal Dunn's first involvement since coming on. The former Chelsea player, now back playing in the United States. That's nice movement from the US. Early ball, Short, best move so far. Pugh goes down in the box. Referee says penalty. She's given it. Foul by Saez on Pugh, and that came at the end of a fluent US move.
Fluent US move, all started by Crystal Dunn on that left side, and then it was Casey Short on the right side with that beautifully placed ball. That's a good call by the referee. I think that's a clumsy tackle. That's a penalty kick.
Yeah, because the initial contact was outside, but it carried on into the area. So referee's decision, I think, is fair enough. Alex Morgan is going to take it to look to add to her 90 US goals. Not too many protests, really, from Chile. So the chance for the US to take the lead here in the 34th minute in San Jose. And it's a brilliant save, that, by Christiane Endler. There might still be more to do. And then he's smuggled in by Pugh. And the US get the goal anyway. They kept the ball alive, the US, after that superb save by Endler. And Pugh was able to finish it off.
Here's the original ball in. Pugh just getting an elbow in there, a shoulder in front of her. And then the penalty kick, and look at the reaction by the US players. Alex Morgan, Pugh, everyone crashing goal. Great reaction by the players, and especially after the encroachment call from the last game.
No.
None of them moved early.
It was a little bit of a nonsense, all of that, and going back to Friday, but Mallory Pugh, it is, who takes advantage with her 12th goal for her country. She's managing one on an average every 3 caps.
What a nice save by Endler, though. Endler, they give a lot of credit to them being able to qualify for the World Cup with her goaltending.
Gianna Davidson is caught out there by Araya. Lara's up in support. Can she finish it off here for Chile? And the US get away with it, and in particular, Gianna Davidson, who got caught in possession. In the NWSL today, Chicago Red Stars 5, Sky Blue have been struggling 0. That is not a shock.
No, and that means that Chicago actually qualifies for the playoffs. They go through. They're one of the top 4. That means Utah is out with that win tonight.
Jockeying for position now in those playoffs, with Seattle playing Portland on Friday. One of the reasons that Lindsay Horan has been left on the bench. She'll be needed in that game for Portland, among others. So the US do have the lead. Just a little bit of opportunism by Pugh. Again, Lavelle not quite able to sparkle in the way she did last Friday. Stan Davidson gets the ball away to Morgan Bryan, and now Crystal Dunn. Not accurate, but a mistake by Guerrero. Lets in Tobin Heath here. Thought about the shot. Plays a cute little ball. Lavelle can finish it. What a save that is by Endler. That was absolutely top draw. Sensational save, really.
The timing, she sets her angle. And what a little ball this is in by Tobin Heath. Just a little flick. Roosevelt is in, and Endler just makes a beauty of a save. Such a quick reaction save.
Yeah, she's made herself big. 6-foot goalkeeper. There aren't too many of those around in women's world soccer. Endler's got a big reputation. She didn't look good on crosses the other night, but she's made a couple of big saves here in this match. Worth another look, this, really.
Look at this little touch, too.
That's a lovely ball, isn't it?
Yeah, just to lift it up. Endler doesn't go to ground. How many times do you see a keeper go to ground early? She stays big, to your point.
Yeah. 3 times Chile's Player of the Year, Christiane Endler, captain. And that's why Paris Saint-Germain, big club in Europe, want her as their goalkeeper. She was at Chelsea for a while as well, and in Spain with Valencia. Played in, helped on there by Davidson, and Heath is in off the other side of the bar. 2-0. And that time the Chilean defence were a little hesitant. They stood, they watched. I wonder really whether the goalkeeper might have come and got it. There's an inquest going on. Look at the inquest going on in that Chilean team about this, but US don't care.
Look at the hesitation. Endler comes and she stops. She gets caught a little bit in that no man's land. She wasn't sure whether to come or not. And Heath makes sure she finishes that one off.
Tobin Heath, who's played in 2 World Cup finals for the US, on the mark there, and it's a difficult one really for Endler, who's had such a great game. Apart from that, that really, I think that was her ball, wasn't it, Julie?
Yeah, but you know, you could see that, like, am I going to be able to get there? I think she probably could have, but just that little hesitation is what ended up killing her, especially since she had no cover there either.
US 2 up, and they'll want to be ruthless and clinical and get in the mood for the big jobs that they have in the next year. Not shooting Chile by 32 shots to 2 in these 2 matches so far. That doesn't tell the story of an improved display by Chile tonight, for my money. Lopez, who looks quite comfortable on the ball. Ayedo being moved towards the left and fouled. Tobin Heath, a favourite player of many followers of US women's soccer, with the goal. And that's the earlier one where Araya and Lara were getting involved in a little bit earlier on. Here's Rocio Soto. Oh, given away. Here's Lavelle. Straight at the goalkeeper. Just the last 5 minutes have been a few mad moments in that Chile defence. Their composure just rocked a little. Araya here, plowing a lone furrow, doing a good job. Looks an intelligent plan, shows her strength to hold on to it there, and still has it too. Just needed a bit more support around her. Lara wasn't really able to provide it. Heath. Crystal Dunn, who's lightning quick. What do you think about the reinvention of Crystal Dunn as a left back? It seemed to be working, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think she's great wherever she is, honestly. She plays forward for Carolina Courage and has been doing so well there, scoring and assisting, and so I mean, that's the beauty of her, really. She's so versatile. I think we actually said to her when she played left back for the first time this year, we said, be careful, you'll end up there, you played so well.
Yeah.
And she laughed and said, I know, and here she is.
Yeah, but I think most players' attitude is anywhere in the starting lineup, exactly. I'll take it.
And that's what she'll say. I'll try and get her to say, what do you prefer? And she goes, anywhere, honestly.
Certainly very, very competitive to get a game in the midfield or attacking areas for this US side. Dal Kemper to play the free kick in. And a chance for Julia, who scores plenty of headers, and she'll be thinking that might have been another one.
Chile so vulnerable on set pieces again. No one popping out. Look at Julie just wide open on that backside. And this is a play that's planned, right?
Yeah.
And Chile just cannot react. Always you find a player that's just sitting there, especially a player like Ertz, who you know is so good on set pieces.
Well, it was a bit criminal by that Chilean defence. They didn't win the first ball, and then they were nowhere near on the second ball either. Which that'll be something that the coach in the background there, Letelier, will be working on. Need to be on red alert at all times. Starting to give the ball away, and the USA, to their credit, sense that. They've sensed the blood. Pugh already on the score sheet. Tracy Short's got a little bit of work to do there. She's not really done it either. The header didn't have enough on it. Aedo gets her head up, looks for support. It's arriving. Here's Yesenia Lopez. Decent looking ball in. Was Davidson fouled in midair? It looked a bit like it. And then it's wide by Rosia Soto. Beg your pardon, Santabanez. Last 2 minutes of the first half. Game possession squandered. Good work by Araya. I think she's done ever so well there up front on her own. Managed to make it stick most of the time.
She's the one who picked Tierna Davidson to get in.
Yeah.
As well, with their best chance really of the night.
Coming up at halftime, we'll have another look at a bit more detail at the qualifying draw that the US have got for the World Cup in October next month. We'll look at the highlights of this first half in case you missed anything, and we'll have our special guest Megan Rapinoe, who's out with a rib injury at the moment, but is doing some great charity work, which she'll tell us all about, among other things. Claudia Soto wide to Geraldine Leighton. Now Aedo. Under pressure from Casey Short, a high press. Could have produced a mistake, but it hasn't. Chile have done that. They do like to play out from the back, but you've got to be very comfortable on the ball and have good technical players to do that and make it work. And they were unable to retain possession, and it's led to a few problems. It's brave, isn't it?
Brave or somewhat crazy sometimes.
Kevin, he's having a little bit of trouble with her breathing. 2 minutes of added time. I think she was just caught by a high boot. Claudia Soto. This time it's Lopez breaking furthest forward. had a couple of ladies yesterday who are making a big documentary about the Chile team and their adventures and journey to the World Cup. Getting full access from the team, all part of the growth of the game in Chile, the long, thin country down in the southwest of South America. Here's Heath, typical piece of work from the flying winger. And she's kept it alive. There's the cross in, and Lavelle couldn't get enough on it for the goal. Great build-up play by Tobin Heath.
And this is the magic of Tobin Heath. She's going to take on players. She's going to find a little gap. She looks up, and look at Rose Lavelle out of midfield. Just finds that little seam. She's coming a little bit late. No one tracks her right through the middle. She's just trying to get a little deflection on it.
Everything right but the finish there for the US. It remains 2-0 in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Chile had a good first 25 minutes, but since they conceded that first goal, it has looked as if the US might score a hatful.
And it's looking like the fatigue is setting in a little bit, isn't it? Those tired legs we were talking about that you thought that would carry over to Friday, here they're starting to show.
Yeah.
From Friday.
That's a nice piece of play by Araya there. She's been the pick of the Chilean team. Lopez to play it wide. Rosia Soto didn't get her head up and look, and that is half time with the US in a predictable 2-0 lead. Doesn't tell the whole story. Mallory Pugh got the first, Tobin Heath the second. It was a penalty saved out from Alex Morgan. When we return, we'll look at the CONCACAF Women's World Cup qualifying draw, and we'll have Megan Rapinoe joining us. Lots to talk about, and we'll be back in just a second or two.